Well, I got it back in the shop. You know, I drove this thing for 300 miles with no front bumper on it. I give it to the kid for a week, and he claims it used 2 quarts of oil, and he couldn't keep the power steering full. So I went and checked the oil today. It's 2 quarts over, as usual. So we have the rack out. You can see I got it painted finally. I had to paint it twice. Got the paint coat out of the trunk, and the paint they give me was silver. You know, you get the car all taped up. You don't really notice it until after you take the tape off. I peeled the tape off the bumper cover back there and went, damn. You know, that was a half a quart of clear and a half a quart of paint that I've wasted. So we went back, and this is the color of the car. We took a picture of the old fender, and this is actually single stage. So what we did is this paint code for some reason wouldn't let her make this a base coat clear coat. I didn't want to put a single stage out here. So I asked her, I said, well, what's the difference? I see you use the same paint, you know, off the rack to mix it. She goes, it's a different binder. I said, well, okay, just change the binder. If it's the same paint, use the 2-stage binder, and we'll make it a base coat clear coat. And we did, and it worked. So I painted the front bumper cover and the whole side of the car, all the way up, down the back. But I did not paint the rear bumper cover. But it's a pretty good match. You know, I painted the whole back of the car right here. It's a little shade brighter. That's because it's new. But, you know, after the kid washes it a couple times. And if you notice, right there, you can see the pearl. And right up on the top. That's what we couldn't get in the other paint. We don't know what the hell happened, but I don't know. The paint code come back silver. And this car has not been painted, because you go to the front of the car, that's the color of the outside of the car. And ain't nobody going to the trouble of stripping this car down to nothing. It's just a Volkswagen Passat. But anyways, this is the side the rack comes out. You can see the big hole they give you. It's kind of a pain in the ass to get it out. There's the old rack. Blew the seal out. Was pumping all the fluid out the shaft right here. And you could see it when he turned the wheel left, turned the wheel right, it would drip out of the boot. So what I did is I went and I poked a hole in the boot. And then I did it left, did it right, and it just poured out. So we knew the rack was bad. So there's the rack off my parts car. That rack's good. It doesn't leak. It's easy to get the rack off of this one. You still have to take it out the side, but the rack on this car goes up under here, up against the firewall on this ledge. It actually bolts up in here. And that's actually the steering knuckle. So it's easy to get this one off. There's a bolt right there, a bolt right there, and there's another bolt next to this one, but it's behind the pump and it's facing down, so you go up from this side to get it. Pretty simple. 2 banjo bolts. There's one, there's the other, and just drain the fluid out. And that's it. So now I gotta try and get the rack back in this car. Then I gotta fill it back up with antifreeze. You know, we went and bought a temperature sensor for it. pulled the damn temperature sensor out, didn't put it back in right, pumped all the damn water out of it, and it's using 2 quarts of water every time I go to town. Yeah, because you're pumping all the water out, bonehead. Anyways, I get back to work. Alright, this is what the rack looks like, stuffed in the hole. This goes up in this boot, but before you do all this connecting, pull this rack out. There's a banjo bolt that goes on the back here, which is the pressure. There's another one that goes here, low side. The low side when you can get when the rack's all hooked up, but this high side when you can't, because there's a ledge right here that's in the way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this piece of wire through. I'm going to wrap it around the rack to pick it up level, so I can get my hand back in there from up top and put that banjo bolt in. When I get that high pressure line in, then I can move the rack into place and start putting bolts in it. So you can see this coiled line with that banjo nut right there, and got that on. So now I can disconnect my wire. You'll see it be done. Okay, we're looking through the left wheel opening. Okay, the back banjo bolt is right there, you can see it, and then the front one is right there. That one's not too bad, but once you get this one on, this down pipe right here is just an absolute pain in the ass and in the way, so I had to put a bungee cord on it through this opening, you know, to pull it this way so I could get that front banjo bolt on. There you go, now you can see them. The back one's there and the front one's there. That's a 7/8, by the way. And then you come down here through this hole right in here and stick your ratchet up and crank it down tight. You can see I have one bolt holding the rack on, and now I'm just fixing to put the others on. There's a, you can see right here in the front of the rack, there's a little bolt sticking out right there. That's a locking bolt. It locks this rack to center. So when I put these tie rods on, I know the steering wheel go on one way and it's center. And then that's the way it's supposed to go together. So let me get to the other side.